Hi there, I'm Andre from Peak Motorcycles, and in this video I'm going to be looking at this thing, which is a car ABC. I read it as Carabc when I first read it, but it's car ABC, and it's their DB601, which is a navigation unit. It's actually a CarPlay unit for the BMW nav bracket. Now I've got a R1250GS. I'm going to do a couple of things. So first of all, I'm going to show you the unit. I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison with my BMW Nav VI. Just kind of show you a few things that are different, and then I'm going to fit it to the bike, and that's probably going to be it. Now, there's a few of these around at the moment, a few different manufacturers. If the name seems a bit odd, Car ABC, I suppose it is called CarPlay. It is Android Auto, not Android Moto, and I'm sure that their grounding is probably in car units, but now they've made a waterproof unit, and they've made one which will actually fit onto the BMW bracket, and which can be controlled through the jog wheel. So I'll show you all of that. I'm not going to be riding it in this video, but I will do a separate riding video showing you how it works. Right then, that's enough of seeing a box. I'll show you the unit. This is the BMW Navigator VI. Very similar to the Nav V, except this has got the glossy screen. Mine still works, even though I dropped it and chipped it. I know some people had some problems with the touch sensitivity on it. Pretty simple. It's got a power switch on the back. If I open the little door, there's a micro USB socket, and then there's the adapter for the plate, which is the same as a Garmin Zumo 660, I think. This is the Car ABC unit. As you can see, put them side by side. It is slightly bigger, maybe a centimetre more, maybe 5mm the other way, 6mm, but the screen goes closer to the edges, and when I power them up, I think that'll be easier to see. It's quite nicely made. It's soft touch plastic. Underneath there is a USB-C socket. Other than that, there is no power button, so you can't turn it on as it is. But then again, it also doesn't have a battery in it, so you couldn't turn it on anyway. Next thing I'm going to do is weigh them, because that might be important to someone. BMW Nav VI, 278 grams. Car ABC, almost exactly the same. Now I think the difference is that this is a bigger unit, it's got a bigger screen, doesn't have a battery, but to all intents and purposes, they are the same weight. Not sure if anyone actually cares about the weight of a sat-nav, but hey, somebody might. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to power both of them up and show you the screens. Now my Nav 6 is actually flat because it's not been on the bike for a while, so I'm just going to plug that in. So there you go. I'm now just going to show you these two units side by side. You can see that the screen is bigger on the Car ABC unit. It has that matte finish to the gloss finish on the BMW unit. I mean, the BMW screen I still quite like. It's lower resolution, but it works, and actually I've been using mine for a long time. I think this is the third bike that I've actually had it on. So just quickly go through what we have here on the Car ABC unit. So we have compass, heading, we have speed, trip meter, tyre pressures. If I press that, that would actually switch it to CarPlay or Android Auto. I'll show you that in a moment. Tap the dash one, you get a gear indicator, RPM, speed, a few other things. Tap that, you get a rev counter, a few other things. Very similar to the dash. I'll just go back. Next one is for settings, to go through all the settings that are on there. And then the last one is just to go through the brightness. So that's full dark, just going all the way up. You can see the little thing comes up. So there we go. So that is the kind of the two units side by side. Hopefully that makes sense. The next thing I'm going to try is just to make sure they both work with gloves. So on this side I've got a pair of Klim gloves. This side I've got a pair of Knox Orsa 4s. This is a bit strange, but I'm just going to do the Knoxes first. Now these gloves do have tips in the fingers, but I've never found them that great on my phone. Now I know it works with the BMW unit because I've always used it with gloves on and it works just fine. In terms of the gloves on here, does that also work? It does also work. So that's just using those. I'm wondering if I use a finger that's not, if I use a thumb. Yeah, actually that does work. That's also got a sensor. So yeah, if I use any of the non-censored fingers, that doesn't work. So you would need to get some gloves that have the fingertips in them. Yeah, that's not doing anything. Right, I'm just going to try it with the Klim gloves. Again, in here I've just got the first finger. I just want to make sure that works all right. And unfortunately, that does not. Now I know that works on here because it's just touch sensitive. It's not actually using the bit in there. Will it work on here? and it won't, which is a shame. Now I think it might be that the resistive bit in these gloves is gone, but bear in mind if you're going to touch the screen itself, you're going to have gloves like the Knox that have the capacitive fingertips. Now on the bike that might not actually matter because I generally use the jog wheel rather than actually touching the screen, but let's have a look. This is how I've got my bike set up. Now I know that's a little different to standard in that I've actually moved my BMW nav cradle from up there on the bars down here, and that's so I can have my Samsung Galaxy tablet up there. I was doing a few roadbook events where I needed to have it up there, so that kind of makes sense. I've been using my Nav 6 down here because it's still fairly easy to see. This is on a Touratech bracket and there's a video for that out there somewhere. So if I power that up, you'll at least get to see what the dash looks like. So that's coming to life. So just while that's coming up, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug in this unit and then you can see how that looks on the bike. So it goes in exactly the same way as the BMW unit. So put that in, it clicks, just push the little lever across at the back and you can lock it with the key. So what I'm going to try right now is to start the bike up and see if this all comes to life. So here we go. So there we go, we've got the revs, we've got the lean angle, battery voltage, we've got the mileage, we've got the range. So all of that is pulling through from the bike. If I tap that, we then get the rev counter. I'll show you that. The other thing I'm just going to show you, hopefully you can still hear me above the sound of the bike, is I'm just going to change the settings from kilometers to miles. Whoops. There we go. Change it from Chinese to English. There we go. Now we're going to go to speed unit, miles per hour. There we go. Now I've got miles per hour on here. The trip's actually reading from the trip on the bike. And again, if I go to the other ones, we now see everything here in miles. Go to that one. There we go. Miles per hour would be showing on there. Right, I'm going to shut this off because I'm in the garage. So what I'm now going to show you is how the CarPlay screen works. So now if I power up, there we go, it's actually found it right away. So if you've ever come across this, it's basically, you might have seen this in a car, but it means you can get the same apps that you'd get on your car screen. Now for me that's kind of useful because I use my route app quite a lot, and to be able to have my route app appearing on here is kind of cool. It's quite useful. What I like about this is that I can still keep my phone in my pocket and I can essentially do all the entry, pick the place I'm trying to visit, even plan my route on my phone, and then it just appears on here. Now, I actually quite like the look of that. The screen is pretty easy to see. I'll do a riding video where you can see it there. It's actually at the point where I think I'm actually going to move it from here and put it back up there, because just having that extra size is it's kind of useful. And the fact that I can have those extra apps, particularly my route app, means I probably don't need the tablet. So the tablet, I think, will go on another bike. One thing I would like to show you, just for a size comparison, is the relative sizes of the screens. Hopefully you can see that okay on there. The BMW one, it's a thicker black bar around the outside, so the size of the unit doesn't actually accurately reflect it, I think. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. I think I am going to move it up there. There either will or there won't be a video for that. Yeah, we shall see. I have done a video where I moved the nav bracket down here. Now, I'd just like to show you how it works with the BMW jog wheel. So if you've never seen one of these before, it's this rotary switch on the left hand grip. And as I turn it, if you see, it moves between the icons on here, last route, zooming. So in this case, I'm going to do a zoom out, and then you push this that way. As you can see, that zooms out. The UK is upside down because it's pointing in the direction of travel. So yeah, so from within here, I can switch back to CarPlay, or I can, oops, you go back. I can switch through the other dash options. I can even do the settings from within there, which is yeah, kind of fun, all done from the jog wheel, so without having to touch the screen. I'm just going to go back. One thing I have noticed, and it's a small thing, but I don't know if you can see on there, the clock on the bike is different to the one on the nav. Now with my BMW Nav 6, it does actually set the clock on the bike from the GPS time. That isn't something they do on here. I will mention it to them. Maybe that's a feature they could add. It's certainly something that could be done because the Nav 6 does it. But yeah, Now I know there's a few things I haven't done. I haven't set up the tyre pressure sensors, so I think that will be a separate video. I do need to wake them up and then ideally go for a ride, so I'll do that probably as part of my riding video. But otherwise I think that's it. So that is it. That is my video about the Carabc DB601. I really like it. I've been very attached to my BMW Nav VI for many years, but the fact that it got relegated to the bars from the nav bracket probably reflects the fact that maybe it's had its day. I think the screen on this is super clear. I like the other features. I like the fact you just plug it in and it works. I don't need to move my bracket around. Shall I be picky? Things that I guess, things that I'll miss about the Nav 5. So one is the fact that can't really use it with gloves on unless you've got capacitive fingertips. It's not really a problem because it's got CarPlay, you're really doing things on your phone. But yeah, having to rely on the jog wheel is good, but doesn't give you quite the same, I suppose, touch and feel that you get when you're actually using the touch screen. The other thing is it doesn't have a battery in. Now initially I thought that would be a bit of a problem because I remember taking my Nav 6 off the bike to maybe change a waypoint or something when I was having a coffee. The fact this only uses your phone, so you're really going to make the changes on your phone, and then as soon as you come back and power up the bike, it's there. I don't really think that matters. But yeah, I'm really impressed by this. I'll put a link to where you can find it. This is going to stay on the bike. If you see any of my content coming up where I'm out and about on my GS, this is what I'll be using. I'll probably do a follow-up video while I'm riding and once I've been using it for a while, just so I can really get to grips with how the jog wheel works with the unit. So that's it. Hope that's been interesting and useful. If it has, please check out my other content and maybe I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.